So that was the transition phase to where you are now? Was it a year
I
and a
went to
half?
work in corrections, man. I worked in a Oswego
Oh.
correctional facility as a discharge planner.
So you were essentially being like, "I don't even know if I'm gonna continue running
So,
a
dude,
gym."
yeah, I just said, you know what? I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm doing boxing so long. I said, man, I have this 4-year degree, bro. I want to see if I can put it to use. I went back to, it's called Council for Adult Experiential Learning, CAL.
Okay.
So I did that as adult education and advising. And that took me like 3 months. It was just like an online program. So after I completed the coursework, so I had to interview people, and I would just go on dating apps, and I'd be like, "Hey, do you mind if I interview you?" I would talk with girls and interview them for my projects.
Killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah. So so that was really fun. And then yeah, they offered me a position that, interviewed me for the discharge planner in Oswego and said, "Hey, you can work with inmates on their, reentry and their post-release care." So I started getting trained in that, man. I was in the Justice Center first. So as simple, simple as this stuff. I would say, "Hey," I would meet with them. "Hey, you have a next court date? You have a release date? Do you have a safe place to go to? Do you have an address to go to? Do you have somebody to pick you up? Do you need a bus ticket or do you have transportation? Any mental health, any substance use." If they said yes, I would address that, continue to, any family or social support. What's your highest level of education? Do you have a job when you leave here? Or do you want any references? What's your skill sets? Do you have any significant others? Do you have any dependents? What are your hobbies and interests? And based off all those questions, I would make a plan, give them tools and resources so they wouldn't just be, kind of just like left in the like
Yeah.
what's the good word, bro? Like
Well, it just could be overwhelming.
obscurity or something.
Yeah.
Just overwhelmed, dude. They're just
Yeah.
back in society with nothing. And I know what that's like. so
Yeah.
so um so yeah, I think I was a good fit and a good person because I had a personal narrative to that approach. And some of not with everybody. I would have, good professionalism and boundaries and but some guys, man, there was a guy that was out of the Navy and he was just down and out. He wouldn't stop freaking doing Molly and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, like, dude, get away from that girl, bro. Like, I just like some guys I would just like pour into as much as I could.
I would say you probably had to read between the lines a little bit.
Yeah.
They give an answer, but maybe you'd be like, "Are you
Yeah.
sure?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I can.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, it was good work. And
It kind of reminds me of what Clear Path for Veterans does. Different in the sense it's veterans getting acclimated back to society, but
yeah.
current inmates. So it's just, I'm sure there's a lot of parallels, but yeah, obviously it's
Yeah.
different. It's just,
Yeah.
it can probably, I mean, I'm sure it's rewarding, but
And
it can be tough.
those were some of the resources too. If they were veterans, I would say, "Hey, so and so is incarcerated right now. Talk with the coordinators or
Yeah.
specialists there." So, and they would just kind of, if they were veterans, they would absolutely transition and kind of, do the casework and do their case management.
Yeah.
So, but being a liaison between the inmates and the community referrals, so I could kind of bridge that gap sometimes. So, but man, recidivism is so crazy. You see guys just, "Hey, I'm clean, I'm sober, this is they're on their 13 arrest, dude." And and then you see them come back in 2 months.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, what are you doing, man? You know, I gave you a winter coat I brought my own coat in here for you because you had nothing when you left, bro. Now you're right back in here. Probably sold
Yeah.
that coat for some more dope. And it's a challenge, man, because those are all adults and they have to learn how to make themselves manageable.
I think it's probably hard to, why you see that happen a lot is because, yes, they got in trouble, they're clean for however long, or, they obviously pay their time, and then
Yeah.
they go back to the same situation.
Yeah, they're
And it's
inviting back
hard.
to
They're right back
risks.
to the old habits. And it's like, how do you,
Mhm.
it really takes kind of a special person to, okay, I'm going back to the same place, but now I'm going to do things differently and consistently do things differently. They might do things differently for a week, a month. But
Mhm.
eventually, right, you're in that same situation. You're surrounding yourself with the wrong people who put you in those
Same cycle,
positions
man.
to, yeah, to get in trouble. But
They surround themselves around people who have nothing, and then it becomes who has more nothing, and they're just so addicted and so deep in their addictions, and they don't know how to pull themselves out of it because they don't want to utilize the tools and have belief of today's the present day. I got to think about tomorrow.
yeah.
So, and just all too common, man. It's all too common.
So how did you transition back into boxing?
So man, title boxing, I've been working with since college, sponsored by or whatever, partnership with.
Yeah.
I had a huge box outside of my house. I'm like, what is this? I'm like, man, somebody like get my credit card or something. Like, what is going on? And it was like a literally like a 4x4 box. And I open it up and it was all this material from title. And then on the top of it, it said, thank you, like coach's appreciation. So the writing was kind of on the wall. So, all right.
This is while you weren't coaching.
Yeah, I wasn't coaching. I was like,
So that
wow.
kind of got you back in.
Yeah. And I had some, man, I'll get phone calls all the time, daily, weekly on, hey, are you coaching? Hey, I want to train. So one of the most interesting calls I got was a young guy from Syracuse. I knew who it was. He was like, "Hey man, I want to train. This is so and so. I know you, man. I know you." He's like, they called you Dope Joe Daddy. I know you. And I was like, yeah, I'll I'll figure it out, man. I'll be back at some point and just kind of get back in the swing of things, I guess. Pro boxer, man, former champion, Chris Avalos reached out. Um, he was signed with Top Rank. He fought Leo Santa Cruz, Carl Frampton. He fought like big names. Um, and I started training him in my basement. So, um, he was from California. He's like, man, I'm trying to find some real boxing up here in upstate New York. And so we were training for a while. And then, yeah, man, just doing research and trying to figure out where a good fit is. Like, sheesh, man, I have roots from the South Side. You know,
Yeah.
my dad grew up on Borden Ave, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna delve into this area and see what comes about. And sure enough, 401 West Taylor Street, SU alumni, they bought the building, so bunch of space there, and kind of yeah, transition. I like the space, like the classic wood floors, painted the walls, refresh the building up, got a heat and AC on the roof, and there I am, bro. So
Did you start the gym before you quit your job? Or did you quit and say, all right, I'm going all in?
the company was transitioning from like the private company of medical care because I was on the medical team within the facility, like
Okay.
working with the correction officers and staff on the medical team with the inmates. That's what a discharge plan is considered. They were talking about going back to their county and not renewing their contract with that specific private medical team. So, and that was a lot of on Syracuse.com too, because it was a justice center as well. So it was kind of like a mutual type of thing. Like, hey, we're probably renewing with the county. Our year contract is up because it was just an emergency contract. So, so yeah, it was similar timing. It was kind of time to transition either out of that facility to a different one, like Oneida or somewhere else around upstate New York.
Convenient timing almost.
Yeah,
So you're
yeah,
ready
yeah,
to go
yeah.
back into it.
It was time to get back to the boxing world, man.
This episode is brought to you by Renewal by Anderson of Central New York, the #1 window and door company in America. Winter is coming, and there's no better time to upgrade. Their energy efficient windows keep warm in, the cold out, and your energy bills low. Schedule your free consultation today by clicking the link in the show notes. Did you have any specific things you wanted to change going from your West Street gym to your Taylor Street gym? Like, hey, this time around, I'm going to do this, this, and this. Or was it kind of like, I just need to get back into it?
I wanted to, keep it kind of like original and grassroots. And a lot of how do you blend modern values and social media and the young guys that want to do it for the gram and TikTok and it's fun, but you lose some of the kind of grassroots of the sport because it's like, hey man, my goal today doesn't exactly want to be a 30-second clip for your Instagram page. You know, how about some round work where it's not glamorous and it's just hard work. So, and it's accountability and it's structure rather than um yeah, I want to show off to my friends and it's that process.
There's probably a balance there, though. I would imagine, right? Because like all those things you're talking about, hard work, discipline, your constant repetition, constant critique, like that's all things that can really tremendously benefit a kid. But you almost need a little bit of the, hey, I'm getting some attention, as well. Like that's almost what keeps them a little more motivated. Obviously, the harder you work and the things you do that, the better you're going to be. And
Yeah.
that's usually a good feedback loop of, oh, if I keep working hard, I'm better. But also a
Mhm.
little bit of like, hey, I'm getting some attention doing this too. I'm sure it can help
Yeah.
them and drive them to
Yep.
continue to get through those hard workouts and to
Uh-huh.
show up every day and to
Yeah,
sweat and to
yeah.
do all
Make
that.
it fun and like you said, make it focus on them where they know that they're being heard and appreciated and they have that individual attention. So um that is always a goal, man, to take time with someone and run mids and show them some good fundamentals and how to do things correctly, good technique, and they know that I care. So yeah, that's always a part of training now, man, is what about me? That's why I like the idea that you walk into my current studio, man, the walls are agreeable gray. There's not there's not
My
like
wife would love that.
there's not it's family friendly.
Yeah.
Instead of this old champion and that old champion
Mhm.
and this old champion and all these so-called greats before and the history of the sport is absolutely important. However, it's almost like what does it do to a young guy with that ambition that it's like, damn, like I just walk in and get suppressed by all these. That person was great. That person was great. That person was great. What about me?
Am
So
I a failure
yeah,
almost?
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that's kind of today's age of how do we modernize boxing and and use grassroots and still have quality, So
When you think about bringing someone on board, especially like a young boxer to your gym, maybe they have no experience whatsoever,
yep,
chances are they're not going to become a professional boxer,
exactly.
right? But what else? I mean, I think it's pretty obvious, but like what is your goal with them? Maybe they come in 6th grade and they go to college.
Okay.
Right? What are you trying to teach them? What are you setting them up for
I
beyond
want,
maybe just being a competitive boxer?
yeah. So everybody that trains, regardless of their age, regardless of their experience, to have a deeper focus on who they are and understand that there's processes to things and have more clear boundaries with themselves to not just say, I'm going to do boxing, I'm going to hop in the ring, I'm going to spar, and I'm going to be somebody brand new because it's not, how do I say this, man? I don't know whether we
It's not
edit
the
this or
goal.
not. Yeah, it's like, don't try to be somebody brand new in the ring. Be who you are. Figure out what your values are and have a deeper focus on you, whatever that means to you. Because you can sense somebody's their kind of bravado or their kind of like they're unprepared. It's like, go build a house with no concrete foundation and watch that crumble. It's the same thing when you hop into the ring and try to be somebody brand new when you don't know shit from apple butter. So, respect the process. have a deeper focus on why you're here, and have accountability for yourself, and learn structure, and learn what it means to why, that person is on a wall at every gym, and that name is everywhere in boxing. It's because that individual had a sense of self and understood that there's a process to achieve, and not just saying, hey, you know what, that person was a champion, that person was an open class boxer, that person was a champion, but me, I'm gonna just walk right in here and go like this, boop. It
Yeah.
doesn't work like that. Well, hey, if I work with you, I can run those mitts just like that pro. So yeah, those are training wheels. So yeah.
It's
Yeah.
setting expectations.
The
And
expectations.
yeah. But also
Yeah.
like, you're telling me this and as a 35-year-old, I'm like, yeah, that's a great point. That's a great way to, kind of go about the process. And I can understand that, right? That's something I've learned over my life. But when you're talking to a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 14-year-old, a lot of times it's in one ear, out the other ear. But also,
Yeah.
it's just hard to learn about that delayed gratification aspect
Yep.
of it. Of like, you got to work hard for years to even
Yeah.
put yourself in a position to maybe be
Uh-huh.
good or let
Yep.
alone great.
Yep.
And they just want to, hey, I'm going to train with Coach Joe for a month, and then I'm going
Yep.
to be, a Golden Gloves contender or whatever it is.
Yeah.
How do you bridge that gap? How do you get these kids on board to say, hey, you might not even become a professional boxer, you may not even become a good boxer, but you go through my training process, you work with me, I'm going to set you up, which sounds like success for life,
Yeah.
right? All those kind of, those qualities that you talked
Yeah.
about.
There's still good qualities that you can get out of the training. And whether it be a full program, whether it be once a week or 3 times a week, there's still aspects that the young people can walk away with and saying that's what it means to work hard at something. That's what it means to dig deeper and get through that round. That's what it means when there's 10 seconds left and not quit. Um, and also parents, man. Parents will talk with their kids and say, well, Coach Joe ended up having Olympic qualifying bouts. Most guys and people like that do end up making their own studios and things like that to kind of instill and use their traits or whatnot,
Give
and
back. Yeah.
yeah, give back and understand, hey, you could have an elite trait too. And most of it is just working hard and outworking people and being able to grasp that understanding of 10 seconds left in this round, nonstop work. 10 seconds left doesn't mean, the round's over, I'm quitting. That's when you see dudes get knocked out. And having that mindset for the young people, especially, and like even working with, it reminds me of working with the women's basketball team before they transitioned to D1 for Lemoyne. I saw their holistic kind of approach to workout together collectively, and it was like just mediocre. And man, after probably the third class, I was like, "Yo, are you guys really think that you're gonna go transition to D1 and win?" And I was like, "You need to really collectively pick it up together." So I hopped in the mix with them because I was like, "Oh, simple, like 1-2's mean and pace, 1-2's nonstop, 1-2's for speed." And I watched their collective tempo, and I'm like, "Man, I'm tired of this." And I just hopped in there, ba 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 ba, ba, and this one girl literally just turns like, "Holy!" I'm like, "Yeah." Like, that's what it means to level up, and that's
Yeah.
what it means to give it your all. So you better step it up, or you're gonna be sitting on the bench, or you're gonna be having no wins for the whole season. And they ended up like winning their division. And
Nice.
the coach, I'm thankful for her. She credited like, hey, we did boxing in the off season, and it gave our team a competitive edge and a deeper understanding of how to win and what it takes to be, elite. So in the sport.
Yeah.
So it's just mindset mentality. Because all those girls are good. They're all D1.
They have the
They
capability,
have the
and they
capability.
have the raw talent, but it's like
Yeah. And
if it doesn't work
the
hard and you're not
talent
pushing
gap,
yourself every
yeah.
day, then
It's
it's
like,
not gonna
yo,
come out.
y'all are all good. But guess what? All of you are good now. And the
Yeah.
talent gap is smaller. Who's going to outwork who?
Mhm.
You know that every play that you do, that person's just as nice as you are. Who's got that play?
Yeah, everyone's showing up to practice every day.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing the drills. It's like, who's gonna
Yeah.
do the
So
extra?
yeah. So that how do you reach that next developmental stage every play? So how do you make every round better than the round before? If you do that, every round's the best round of your life.
Yeah.
Same with every sport that you do, any sport that you do, those those students have to figure it out, but also be directed and led in a way where they can figure it out. So yeah, man, that's some good aspects of coaching and giving back.
Yeah. It reminds me of when I was coaching in Texas, like you take for granted that people will just push themselves. Where I remember it's like that's something you really had to teach. My wife and I would always talk about it. We'd have to teach the kids how to like exert all their energy and go all out.
Yep.
And I think back to it kind of reminded me of your Lemoyne story. We my first year as a head coach, I think we won 3 games or like 3-13 or something. And then by I think the next year we started going to a gym once a week. And it was a gym that we went to, kind of a smaller studio type gym, a lot of kettlebell workouts, body weight, rowers, things like that. And he would just set it up. They weren't using big weights, right? They're used to football workouts. Like, no, we're using like 15, 20, 25 pound kettlebells. But we would do things to like exhaustion,
Yeah.
right? And then all of a sudden we get on a row or 500 meters, competition, and these kids would be pushing themselves, pushing themselves, pushing themselves. So not only give us a break from lacrosse and to do something new, but like they were learning how to literally exhaust themselves,
Yeah.
and it made them tougher. It made them
Uh-huh.
in that last 10 seconds, the last minute
Yeah.
of a quarter, being
Yeah.
able to still push themselves.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, by the time 3 years later, we competed for the state championship.
Uh-huh.
And yes, yeah, there's a lot of things that happened, but a big part of it was just going to a gym and exerting their energy and getting tougher in that sense.
Yeah.
So they know how to go all out, and
Yeah.
that's how they make themselves competitive.
Yeah. Definitely.
So it's like very, very similar. And I think
The
it's like I
sweet
said,
science.
yeah, but like it goes beyond sports, as you know, right?
Yeah.
You're setting them up for life.
Yeah.
But I did want to touch back on what you're talking about when we got in here about not having the ring in the gym, right? What did that do to the mentality of people coming in, and why did you said you got rid of it, right?
Yeah, the ring is not present at the moment because I want people to not fixate on it.
So kids would come in being like, "Let's go in, let's box." Like,
When can I fight? I want to spar.
yeah,
Yeah.
like this, you just got here.
Yeah. So let me spar, let me fight. And then they don't show back up when they get that opportunity.
Do they get discouraged if you let them in? Like, well,
Man, it's like they get a sense, they get a glimpse of, um, hey, you haven't achieved that high performance yet. You don't. It's okay to emulate. It's okay to want to be there in a sense. The work hasn't been completed yet. It's not as easy as you might think it is. So ESPN just ranked boxing 87th percentile of hardest sports to learn a few weeks ago. And it's true because it's so much mechanics, repetition, and fundamentals to be able to have a good performance and box well. There's punchers like Wilder can just punch hard. And then there's boxers that will stay away from those power shots and circle out and do things to weather the storm. And then you have puncher
let them get
boxers.
tired.
Yeah. So that's like the overall understanding of it's not an easy sport. So the expectation level of I can do that. Coach Joe makes it look easy.
Yeah.
So yes and no, that you can do that, but there's a process of understanding it. So don't try to go in that ring and try to be somebody brand new. Have a focus on yourself and understand and respect processes and have your own accountability so you're able to reach the peaks and not just say, well, that round didn't go well. That round was difficult. Wow, I'm tired. So understand stamina and endurance, breathing techniques, things that are within boxing and sports that transfer in life. Sometimes I gotta be calm and take a breath. Sometimes I have to be reflective and learn growth. And also, it's not just all about growth. It's, almost adverse effects. Well, if I don't put my hands up, I'm probably going to get punched in the face.
Yeah.
So it's
What boxer is like, everyone's got a game plan until you get punched in the
Tyson,
face. Is
man.
that Tyson? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like so true, but you're talking about the habits, right? That's why you have to install these habits because when you get punched in the face, you're not thinking, oh, my game plan. No, you just go back to habits. And if you have the
Yeah.
right habits, you save
Yeah.
yourself from maybe still having a chance at that round or at that
Yeah.
match.
Yeah. Yup. And there is a lot of, I think, with the young guys and people, just there's a lot of, well, I know what I'm doing already. And
I want to fight at the school here.
yeah. And their ego just takes over their willingness to be coachable, their self-responsibility. So, this is mostly discussing, new people to a sport.
Yeah. Well, I think it's probably the hardest in boxing because I think of lacrosse or basketball. It's like, yeah, people, oh, I want to go play a game. It's like, well, dude, you got to learn how to catch first. You got to learn how to
Yeah.
pass. But like, at least they see a stick and there's something going on. With boxing, it's like, oh, I can do this.
And
It's my
nobody's
hands.
there to save you in the ring.
Well, that's what I
So,
mean. They think they can
yeah,
do
and
it
then
because it's
they
like, oh,
get
it's just
in
my
there.
hands.
Those two
But
guys look
then,
back at me. I'm like, dude, I'm a coach, man. I'm not a
yeah,
referee. I'm not a judge.
yeah,
That's on you now.
yeah,
So, and then they really figure out, like, wow, like, yeah, you can't go hard for 30 seconds and then, oh, well, that punch landed. Yeah, the dude's still standing there. Oh, that punch landed. The dude's still standing there. That combination landed. The dude's still standing there. Now what? So it gives them a lens of, um, yeah, what does this mean to you? You think you could just walk into a ring after a few months of training and knock somebody out? Good luck. So the unfortunate part of that, too many people seem to be eliminated from themselves and say, well, that didn't go well for me. I'm not coming back.
they get discouraged,
Yeah,
quickly.
discouraged too quick.
Yeah,
So where's the middle ground between tough love and training and we could pull through? Give yourself a chance rather than, well, I'm not Superman in the ring as I thought I was. So I'm gonna figure something else out.
I'm gonna go play football or something. Yeah,
That's what makes the sport great and also the training great. Because the ones that do stick it out, it's a tough sport. It's a tough sport. So
hit a bag for 10 minutes, not
yeah,
even 5 minutes. At 70%, and you're gonna be, especially if you don't do it, you're gonna be exhausted.
and trying to phase it in. Let's start 30%. One
Yeah,
punch drills, two punch drills, three punch drills. Let's go 50%. Let's go 30 seconds, 1 minute off, 1 minute on, 1 minute off. And sometimes understanding is just like, fuck him, I'm going hard as I can. I'm going to prove something to myself. I'm going to prove that I'm better than the process. I'm going to prove that I can champion everything and I don't need anybody to listen to. And then they get knocked out and then there's no return majority of the time.
yeah,
So that's your Mike Tyson at 13 years old knocking out grown men, you know?
yeah.
So,
Unless you have the genetic makeup to
yeah.
have the
So,
special gifts that you can do that.
and Roy Jones was great, but he trained for 10 hours a day and he lived boxing with his dad. Lomachenko had 400 amateur fights. And it's like, damn, how can he move around the ring so well? Dude, he's had 400 amateur fights. You know, Golovkin's a beast of the middleweight division. Another hundreds of amateur fights. Now he's the president of WBO. So Canelo was pro at 16 years old because same type of mentality. He's waking up and running and training and taking a nap and waking up and running and training and on repeat. The lifestyle of what you do is so important. And that's why it's so challenging to say, dude, stop showing up here and trying to be somebody brand new, man. Because if you're really about it, it'll show in your work.
Yeah.
Mir Anderson, Syracuse, New York, 7-0. as a pro boxer now, signed with Misfits. There was a time years ago, he ran to my studio, full sweat, sparred 7 rounds, and ran back home. The proof is there.
Yeah, there's like
He
no secrets,
yeah,
right? It's
he's
like
undefeated
yeah,
as a boxer right
yeah,
now,
exactly.
you know, with his team. The willingness and the dedication to want to do that should not be far few in between. It should be more instilled and say, you can do that too, with that awareness and that enlightenment of this is what it takes to take it to the next level with whatever you do. You just have to have that understanding, grasp it, and keep yourself accountable and take care of business, man.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, it's the same through all sports. You know, it just reminds me of once again we were coaching, and there's a player out of Austin. He played at Westlake, and Bryce Walker, phenomenal player. You know, he had some ability, natural ability. He's quick as heck. He wasn't a big guy, but he's very quick. But he played at Notre Dame. This is when Notre Dame won a couple national championships. They were, you know, a dynasty when he got there, and he got playing time. And you rarely saw someone go D1 from Austin, let alone to the best team in the country, and let alone get playing time, the best team. It's like, all right, how do you get there? It's because he was the one who was showing up to our Saturday morning skill sessions as a senior committed to Notre Dame. You know, it's all kind of individual, and he's just going hard, hard, hard. There's not
uh-huh,
even another senior, junior there. It's like some freshmen, you know, he didn't have a
uh-huh,
big turnout. He was there every day
mhm,
pushing himself. And it's like, yeah, no wonder why he had a great career
uh-huh,
and went to the best school. It's like, because he
yeah,
did that.
yeah,
And everyone else is like, I'm too good for that stuff. I'll
yeah,
come to the practice of the game. I'm not going to go to the skill session. It's like, there's no secrets. Like,
yeah.
yeah, no, yeah, you know, you see how he got there, and it's
Do you
obviously
do you
the
get
same.
that reputation of, "Oh, that dude's going too hard," or something,
Yeah, it's
you
not
know?
cool.
Yeah, yeah, like, "Yo, chill out."
Yeah,
You know?
relax.
Like, "Okay, well, how do you what are you here for then? What do you wanna achieve?
Yes.
Do you wanna, you know, boxing is yeah, it's social, but you're in the ring by yourself. So if you want to train and give high fives and you know, sip your Poland Spring and be here for the social aspect, that's great. And that's recreational. But if you want to compete and you really want to, you know, have goals of being a type of champion, then you better dig deep. So, man, it reminds me of, you know, years ago when I was younger, some coaches around here would give me a call. Hey, I got an undefeated fighter, doesn't want to work out with the team anymore. You know, that's grassroots. You work out with your team, you do the round work together. And those guys that all of a sudden get to 7-0 and 9-0, 14-0, then all of a sudden they're like, oh, well, nobody's better than me. I can just work out by myself and I know what I'm doing. I don't need to listen to the camaraderie and the collectiveness of the coaching and those individuals within the round work don't have those elite traits or whatever they think, whatever their thinking process is. So, you know, it's happened a handful of times when I was younger. Coaches would call me in. Hey, I have an undefeated fighter. What do you think? I'll show up. And then we get some work in, and some of those guys quit. They step out the ring, and then you hear it's like, hey, what happens when somebody walks in and they're uglier, faster, stronger, meaner? Then what do you do? So it's either they dig deep and figure out, okay, time to level up, or they they don't produce and they perish.
Yeah.
So um those I think those moments, you know, gave me a reflection of mentality, mindset, and appreciating just grassroots training and the guys that I learned from. So and you gotta, you know, you have to give yourself some credit sometimes because there was times, man, say I was in that same boat. Oh, nobody in this gym can beat me. I'm better than everybody. Okay, hop in the car. We're going to another gym. Just get your shit rocked. And then it's like, damn, dude, I got a lot of work to do.
Yeah,
So,
humbling.
yeah.
Nice.
But how many people want to go through those humbling experiences and show back up?
No.
Seriously, you know, and that's I think what sets people apart from that category of that person's about it.
Yeah.
You know, they're cut like that. Regardless if they're gonna stick with sport or they're gonna do something new, they're cut like that. So, and I think everybody wants to be like that. And they want to show, hey, I'm like that. I can run this like that. I'm with so and so. And it's like same thing, man. Stop trying to be somebody brand new. Figure out who you are first,
Yeah.
and then you have to have the ability to prove more and not just say, I'm on the A team.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's it's like how do you as a person not be like it's not like discouraging or being rude. You know, it's being pragmatic and being kind of direct and still motivational.
Yeah, there's also a balance. Is you know, with literally the same things we would deal with coaching lacrosse, right? You play in Texas tournaments, you have a good team, we're blowing teams out. Oh, I'm good. I want to go to Virginia. Look at you know, I'm the best player out here, blah blah. It's like, all right,
Syracuse lacrosse is
let's
all
go. Yeah, let's go to the Northeast. Like, you know, and then we play one tournament and then we're just getting rocked. And they're like, oh shoot, I'm not as good as I thought I was.
uh-huh.
And it's like, you need that. But if
Yep.
we just played in the Northeast tournaments and got our butts kicked every single week, like, yes, we would be getting better, but it gets deflating, right? Then you're like,
Yeah.
you know, and now all of a sudden you start losing your swag or your confidence. It's
Yeah.
like, you got to have the balance of like, you know, you're getting better. You got to be able to see that you're getting better. You got to have some wins. You got to get yourself like, hey, I'm good. I
Yeah.
got to keep this going.
Yeah.
While also being like, well, I'm not perfect and I
Mhm.
still have to get better.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure, you know, you've seen it. It's just hard to strike that balance. And like, not to mention you deal with the parents too.
Because there's always dips and peaks of motivation and athlete burnout.
Yeah.
And man, Texas, Lubbock, Texas, every year they do the nationals for boxing, and you see the phenomenal competition there. You know, within those dips and peaks of motivation and athlete burnout, you got to ride the tide of change, or you're going to obviously just be torn under the waves. There were, you know, even as an athlete, when you're down and out, and you take a loss, and you take a loss in the ring, you take a loss in life, and you're just counted out. That's when you have to really use the skill set. It's like, dude, what? No, I've been, you know, I have to remember really where I came from in a sense, and like, it's not over. And that's what I think will set people apart. With they have positive self talk and say, nah, I'm gonna get back to, I'm getting on the back on that horse.
Yeah, is that like they just did a study on like tennis players, like what separates the best? I think it was tennis players of it's who has those positive thoughts in those
Yeah.
times of doubt,
Yep.
right? The more negative thoughts you have, like that's what separates the elite from just the pros or the you
I
know
learned
regular.
later when I was in Lubbock, Texas, at a coaching clinic about you can award a competitive fight an extra minute to see what fighter has positive self talk. Happened when I was in the PNC Stadium. I fought this guy much bigger than I was, still took the fight, and it was a competitive fight. He was rocking me in the first round. He would catch me with hooks, swearing at me. He was like 6'3", and he was long, had good reach. Probably came down from 190 pounds to weigh in at 178. I was 172, weighed in at 168, hydrated back up. And first round, dude, he was had good timing, good rhythm, good ring IQ, and just catching me with hooks. Bam, bam, that's right, motherfucker. Boom, just catching me. I'm like, fuck, man. Tried to start sitting on his punches, right? Timing and watching when the hook would be thrown, watching his jab and slipping and stepping forward to take his reach away,
Mhm.
boxing off my back foot and start landing body shots, uppercuts, start catching with uppercuts. And I'm like, yeah, that's right, motherfucker. But the third round came, man, and it was a close fight. And and I knew I did a lot of prep work, man. I was doing my road work. I was doing what you know fighters need to do if they want to win. Everybody's good, right? Everybody's good at that developmental stage. Who's got more? Nothing. Who's putting in the road work? Who wants it more? Third round came, my corner's like, man, look, turn around. I'm like, yeah, I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I won that fight. They're like, turn around. Turn around. This dude is on the ropes, is holding the ropes like this. And then they award one more minute. I'm like, I thought the fight's over. They're like, nah, we're going for one more minute. And that dude is exhausted. So I'm like, man, I know that he's a better boxer than I am, but he's not as disciplined as me. He doesn't have that dog in him right now. So they give us one more minute. I shake my head like, yup, what's up? And just start pop my jab, pop, pop, catch him with an uppercut, poof, just watch him crumble and just fucking snooze in the corner of the ring with his arms up on the ropes, trying to hold himself up. That was one of the best feelings, analytically and emotionally. Say that's what hard work looks like. That's what staying the course looks like. And you just watch somebody crumble and be like, that's right, motherfucker. Right? So Yeah, bigger, stronger, faster, more skilled than me, 50 plus fights. Um, we just stay in the course and perseverance, bro. Down and out, addicted, making wrong choices, and almost just like like making a mockery of myself with trainings and just making bad choices. And it's like, nah, I gotta figure it out, man. I gotta get another opportunity. Figuring out for me is staying sober and paying attention to what I can be capable of and what we all can be capable of if we make right choices. That was like, sort of a little bit of redemption, man.
Yeah. No, that
So
was a great story. Um, but here, as we wrap up, let listeners know, how do they get involved, right? Primetime Boxing is the name
Prime
of the gym.
Syracuse, yeah, Syracuse Boxing, Primetime Academy,
Primetime
Primetime
Academy. Yeah, that's
Boxing
right.
Academy,
Okay.
CoachJoeBoxing.com. So
CoachJoeBoxing.com.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a
Just reach
website.
out, show
Reach
up.
out, show up 3 times a week for group classes, a lot of private classes. Man, get the warrior within you. I'm training dentists, doctors,
So
that
adults and
adults and
kids.
youth.
Yeah.
So I really want to focus on guys and people that, pre-law students signed up. Um, and people that really want to, just like that story, bro, figure it out.
Hmm.
How can I really champion myself? How can I push myself to that next developmental stage? So what does it take to do that? And I want to expand more and be a light for people that have those goals for themselves and the ambition to say, I'm a dentist, I do great for myself, I'm gonna open up another dentistry. I'm a pre-law student, I have great grades, I want to get into the best law school possible. My dad owns a big construction company. I have a lot to learn because there's big shoes to fill. How am I going to be able to have that mindset and mentality of preserving my family's business? People to understand that it's not about the ring, and it's about the ring within you in a sense. And stay safe, have fun, learn skills that are going to transfer to your values and your life. Yeah.
Love it. Appreciate it, Joe. Yeah, that was
Yep.
great, dude.
Yep.